Hello, welcome to episode 2 of my Communication Unlock series. If it's the first time you're watching, move over. This is just where I go over everything I learned in the book, Looking In, Looking Out. The only thing, so I realized that it's taking a lot of time to actually go through everything, like every single thing, and it's going to take forever, and I don't have forever. I need to be done by September. So I'm going to go like more generalize it and just put out like few pointers, whatever. Anyways, let's go. So in the first episode, I went over just the reasons why we communicate and just like general topics, I guess. And today we're going to be talking about culture and communication, the process of communication, and communication principles and misconceptions. Okay, so culture can be defined as the way of life of a particular group of people, and a core culture can be defined as a smaller group within a larger. No, it's basically where a smaller group within a larger society shares their own unique beliefs and values. Like, say, for instance, a certain age group likes a certain thing, or your sexuality, or your profession, or so forth. Some core cultures are marginalized and treated unfairly. So this kind of makes communication a bit more difficult for them. I think today we'll be going over some of that. I'll see. So Mark Orbs believes that to cope with being treated differently, members of a core culture usually try to assimilate with, accommodate, or separate from the dominant core culture. So either I'm going to act like you, change some things about myself, or just avoid like a certain group altogether just to stay by myself because I don't want to be I don't want to feel like I'm being treated differently. So intercultural communication happens when people from different cultural backgrounds interact. This is not necessarily always important, but in specific situation it does become important. For example, when someone's religious beliefs influence where a group choose to eat, like, say for instance, I'm a Sabbath and I cannot eat, say for instance, shrimp. So I wouldn't go to a seafood restaurant with my friends. Obviously, they have other things, but you just wouldn't go to the seafood because the shrimp's there, whatever kind of thing. So that's basically when that would become important. Also, developing intercultural communication skills help us to communicate with respect and understanding across these differences. So it's basically just understanding the differences, being able to acknowledge these differences and respect the differences. So not because, oh, you're not that religion or you're not a part of that culture, it doesn't mean that you're going to treat people who are a part of that culture differently or anyway, like you be considerate of these people, especially if they're in a group, like if you're working with them, all of that. So now we're going to be talking about the process of communication. um so you have you can view communication in a linear way, so a linear view, which would go, it views communication as a one-way event. So it's basically where the message is sent from the messenger to the receiver. That's it. So like sending a text message, like just hi, that's it. Just view communication as a one-way street, message to you, message back to me type of thing. That's it. It doesn't consider like anything that happens around or anything else that affects communication basically. Whereas a transactional view considers all the factors that affect communication. So it considers it considers the environment you're in, it considers the noise, and it considers the channel, which is basically the method that you use to communicate. Like communicate through text message, face to face, by writing letters, all of that. So the environment is just where the communication is taking place. The noise, the noise can be considered in many ways. So it can be like the noise, what somebody else is thinking. So I'm having a conversation with you. It might just seem to me like, oh, I'm just saying hi to you, but maybe you're having a bad day. You might be upset. So that would be considered a noise, as well as like actual noise, like actual barriers, like maybe the music is playing type of thing, and then the channel is how you choose to communicate. So being able to consider this when communicating is also very important. Like when having a conversation with somebody, you have to understand that misunderstandings will happen just because of, as I said, the noise. Like somebody might just be having a bad day. So it might come off as if they're giving you some type of attitude or something, and it's not really the case. Just think about like how different noises can affect you. Like they're hungry, it really does affect like how they respond and all of that. So considering all of this, they can just say that like you can understand that communication is constantly changing and it changes from person to person. So like it's gonna be different. Like, and back to the noises, you have like external noise, which is like loud music, physiological noise, which is like fatigue, and psychological noise, which is like anger. So yeah, along those lines, those are the types of noise that might affect communication. Now we're gonna go over communication principles. So the first one is communication can be intentional or unintentional, which means like I can intentionally come up to you and say, "Hey, I don't like what you're doing," or maybe me coming in, say for instance at work, and I come in and I don't speak to you. I'm unintentionally telling you that I don't want to talk to you. That might actually not be the case, but that might be what you get from me not saying anything to you, basically. Communication is irreversible. It look like I spelled it wrong, but I think that's what it's saying. Whereas like I can't call you, I can't say, "Oh, you're a lazy person." I can never take that back. I can apologize, but it doesn't change what I said, and I can never take that back. um it's impossible not to communicate, which goes back to the first one, where it's like it can just be unintentional, because by not saying anything, you're kind of saying something. um Communication is unrepeatable. It's like you can't redo what you did. A communication, no matter how you try, like when you come in and you're like, "Hi, how are you?" Like you trying to do that again, you were genuine the first time, but doing that again might come off as like pretentious in a way. uh Hopefully anybody actually watching this understands what I mean. um Communication has a content and relational dimension, which basically means that one, so the content version is what I'm saying, what I want to communicate to you, and the relational dimension is like the relationship between the both of us. So we're friends, and this definitely affects like how you perceive what I'm saying, because if we're friends, you're gonna perceive it different, as if other you're gonna perceive it different from if we were strangers. You get what I'm okay, so for instance, I'm giving you a history of my bowel movement for the day. If you're just my coworker, you're gonna be like, "Huh? Why would you say that to me?" Whereas if I'm saying it to my best friend or my mom or my doctor, then it makes sense to them while I'll be saying that. So that's kind of that. Honestly, if anybody actually watches this, they don't understand something and you want me to explain, I really don't mind. Um, I'm a chatterbox. I will, yeah. So just let me know. And then I think the last thing we're doing, oh, it's not the last thing. We have a few more things to go over. Okay, so communication misconceptions. So the first one is more communication is always better. It's kind of self-explanatory. Um, More communication is not always better. Like sometimes we over-explain. I think I over-explain a lot of times. Um, and if you already made me upset, it makes no sense trying to continue the conversation. Like, let's just leave it instead of like prolonging it. Oh my God. And yeah. So meanings are in words. I think we went over this the first time with the principles, where it's like it's not just what you say, sometimes it's how you say it, sometimes it's who you're saying it to. All of that has to be taken into consideration. Um, Three is successful communication always involves shared understanding, No. I can I can have a successful conversation with somebody. We don't agree, but we respect each other's what would I say, decisions, what each other had to say, that type of vibe. Like we don't have to agree. Um a single person or event causes another person's reaction. Went over this already. I can just be hungry, and me not saying anything to you might have absolutely nothing to do with you. And then communication can solve all problems. And no, communication does not solve all problems, because if you're broke, the amount of talking will ever solve the problem more than you need more money. Like, no matter how much you talk about being broke or not wanting to be broke, you're still going to be broke. That's kind of a bad example. But yeah. Okay, now we're going to go over quantitative versus qualitative interpersonal relationships. So the quantitative interpersonal relationship is um it's like neutral. So it's like I'm going to the cashier. It's usually face to face between two individuals, just the two of us. Um there's no quality to it. It's just happening. Like, I'm going to the grocery store, the cashier is gonna be there, we're gonna have to talk to get a transaction done. Whereas qualitative now focuses on the depth of your relationship with an individual. Um, these types of communication are more unique from person to person, and it involves sharing information, and it's most times irreplaceable. Like, the relationship you have with your mom, you're not going to have that same relationship with your best friend or with your sibling, that type of thing. Like, yeah. And then and obviously it's gonna feel easier to communicate with some people compared to others. Like, there's no one way to communicate or one successful way to communicate. And it's okay if it feels easier to communicate with some people and not others. Like, that's totally normal. Um, being a competent communicator simply means you're able to express yourself to others. And I think one important thing that I noted is that, like, never never put yourself in a box and say, oh, I'm shy, or oh, I'm not a good communicator. Like, you can always improve. You can always change, learn different ways, try different things, like being willing to accept, well, maybe I'm not too perfect at that. Maybe I'm going to try something else and see if it works. It might not. And now, lastly, I think I'm going over the characteristics of competent communicators. So, being adaptable. So, being adaptable basically means like knowing your audience and knowing the best way to communicate to said audience. Like, you're not gonna talk to, say for instance, you're giving a presentation at school, you're not gonna talk the same way you talk to your best friend or your younger sibling. You're gonna communicate different. You also have to be able to view situations from different point of views. So you can't just think about how you see something. You have to be able to say, look back at the situation and say, okay, so I said this person might have taken it as this or whatever. It's very important. Cognitive complexity, yeah, just being able to have different perspective, view a situation from different point of views. Very important. Empathy is a big thing. It's just being able to understand and being sensitive towards others' feelings and their experience. Like, you can't expect to build relationship on, you're not, you have no type of empathy. I'm not saying you're going to take up a person's problem, but you have to be able to be at least be sensitive towards what they're going through or whatever. um Self-monitoring slash reflexivity is also very important. It's just being able to monitor your behavior and also adjusting when necessary, when and where necessary. You must be able to say, okay, this, what I'm saying might be disrespectful, or how I'm saying it might be disrespectful. I'm gonna try it this way. And commitment, which it kind of ties back into the quality of a relationship. Whereas, like, if you really want to build a relationship with somebody, you really have to be committed to build that relationship. Be open-minded and willing to learn. That's literally what relationships are all about. That's literally all communication is about. As I said, I think in the first episode, this is literally basic information I think most of us know, but I just felt I really love this book, so that's the reason I'm going over it. I'm gonna try and just breathe through the rest of it because yeah, the next 4 months are gonna be busy. But if you actually watched all of that, thank you and see you next time.